What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. We're doing another watch list video this month. We liked it so much last month for Halloween that we decided to do it again. And the theme this month is adventure movies. So, with me to talk about this is my good buddy, as always, Connor Nielsen. Here he is.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
There he is, guys. All right, well, let's get down to it. So just real quick, talk about why we're doing this. Last month, can you hear me, buddy? Everything's good?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, I can hear you
perfect.
just fine.
It's our audio is actually really clean this evening. Usually I can hear like a little bit of fuzziness in my audio, so I just wanted to check. But so last month we did this for Halloween. We both put together a spooky list of movies that we wanted to get through, and I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot, so I decided to do it again this month for November. And we've been talking about watching, or me and you have been talking about this for a while, because I got these box sets, these Ray Harryhausen box sets that I really wanted to get through, and I didn't know when I was ever going to get to them. And you made the offhanded joke to do like a Thanksgiving of Ray Harryhausen week. I don't know if you remember that, but so yeah, I've had a lot of adventure movies that I've been trying to get through for a while, and I was like, November adventure. They both have a V in the second syllable of their three-syllable words, so it sounded good. It rolled off the tongue. So I was like, let's do adventure movies this month. And then you just so happened to be also planning to watch some adventure movies this month, unrelated to me, and so then I just came up with this adventure through November thing. I did a list on Letterboxd, and then we talked about it on our last live stream. So here we are. We've both put together a list of about 20 movies that we're going to try to watch through this month, and we're just going to go through them here with you live and shoot this video. Anything you want to say, Connor, about the topic?
Well, yeah, I started thinking about adventure because I've been watching through the AFI's top 100 movies just sort of periodically over the last couple of years. And one of those, the next movie I was going to watch was Raiders of the Lost Ark, the first Indiana Jones movie, a family favorite. And then October started, and I said, well, I got to not do any of that. I got to watch a bunch of horror movies for October. And then I was thinking, wait a minute, after Indiana Jones comes The African Queen. And honestly, I have a lot of adventure movies sitting over there on my Criterion corner in my living room. I should just watch a bunch of adventure movies. Why not? And then I had an idea of this one franchise I wanted to watch throughout the entire week of Thanksgiving myself. So, and then I was also just having adventure on the brain. And as we were getting close to Halloween, I was talking to my brother saying, I think I just want to watch a bunch of adventure movies come November for no particular reason. And just the way coincidence works, I guess this lined up perfectly.
This is really cool. I'm glad it worked out this way, because now I don't have to do this video by myself, and I probably wouldn't have even done this video. I just sort of did this list like privately in my home and never told anybody about it. But now, since I got someone to talk about it with, we're going to talk about it. So let's jump right into the list. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So first up, actually, this will be the first one of the ones that we get to talk about it together, because first up for both of us is Die Nibelungen. What a weird title. And this is actually one that I own. A lot of these I have access to streaming, and a lot of them I have Blu-ray too. So I'll show the ones that I have. But this movie I bought just last month off of the Kino Classics. Well, Kino Lorbar, but Kino Classics is the line, because I bought something else from them and I wanted to get free shipping. So I had to add something else to my cart. So I just like scrambled through their list really quick, and I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. This is on a lot of top best fantasy movies of all time on Letterboxd. So I really wanted to check it out, and I bought it, and I just threw it on this list. By the way, I'm going in, both of us are going in chronological order, or like release date order. So they're going to be older movies in the beginning, and then the more recent movies are going to be at the end. But yeah, so did you know anything about this until I told you about it?
I hadn't even heard of it until you had mentioned it, actually. And I want to thank you for it. Actually, on eBay, this was the great hour-long tragedy of a couple of days ago, where I was looking for this Blu-ray on eBay because it's part of the Kino Classics line. And similarly, there's not Nosferatu, Metropolis, and they have this really cool slipcase. And you have the jewel case, but I guess they released this so long ago that you obviously didn't get the little case that it
I bought this
in.
brand new, but they didn't do another printing of the slipcover, unfortunately.
So I was thinking, well, somebody on eBay must be selling it, and I scrolled all the way to the back, and they had one, and I was thinking, this is excellent, and it was only like $35. Two movies that are like super long. I think they're both roughly in the ballpark of 2.5 hours each, and I thinking that's a steal. I gotta get it. And then I found out they lived in Canada and they didn't ship to Oregon, so I wasn't able to order it. But
oh, ups and downs! What a roller coaster, man. That's so sad.
But I'm so excited to watch this because I love Fritz Lang, and this.
Yeah, I didn't even mention Fritz Lang.
This kind of, I guess it's a duology. This was what he made before he made Metropolis. Now, Metropolis is like a top 10 favorite film of mine. I love that movie, and I think that him doing kind of more of like a fantasy thing with like right on the cover, it's got a guy with a sword,
it's got some dragon thing right there. It says Fritz Lang's epic or monumental epic. It's crazy.
I really want to see Fritz Lang do that because I've seen M and I've seen Metropolis, and I love both of those movies. So I really want to go back into his work and look at what he was up to before the later 20s, early 30s, kind of at the end of the silent era, beginning of the sound era.
Yeah, I'm glad you specified that it's technically like two parts, because I know I put both, if you're watching along, I put both part 1 and part 2's posters here, but I wasn't sure exactly how it goes. Letterboxd has it as 2 movies, but then they released it here and there's like no mention of it being 2 movies, so I didn't know exactly how that works, but apparently it is 2 parts. So that's both of our number 1 and number 2. I put those together since we're just going to talk about them anyway. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. I don't know much about it. I love fantasy and I love 20s movies, so I'm pumped. I haven't got to that one yet. We are a little bit into November, and I have got to some of these, but I haven't got to that one yet, so I'm looking forward to it. All right, moving right along, number 2 for me is the Ben-Hur from what is that? No, sorry, that's number 2 for you. My number 2 is Thief of Baghdad from 1924, which I actually have here, which I just bought yesterday right before we did this video, so it worked out perfectly. This was the only one on my list that wasn't available in streaming or on my shelf, so I'm glad I was able to grab it. I found this at a Half Price Books. This is a Cohen film collection. It's pretty nice. They do a nice list of essays, kind of like Criterion does. And the disc looks really nice. Not crazy about their, they kind of brand all of their covers like this, and I think you have some of these, Connor. But funny story about this. This has been at my Half Price Book forever, and no one's ever picked it up. When I originally was going to buy this, I thought it was the 1940 version that I love. And I was like, oh, that's a weird cover. Why are they showing it as a black and white film when it's a color film? That's weird. I thought it was just like part of their cover thing, because they do this black and white theme. But then when I picked it up and I finally watched that 1940s one, and I was like, oh, this is a completely different version from less than 20 years before. So yeah, I definitely want to check this one out. This one's on my list because I do like the 1940s version a lot, and I just like Arabian Nights and that whole aesthetic. So I'm looking forward to checking this out. Do you know anything about this one?
I don't. As a matter of fact, I didn't know there were multiple Thief of Baghdad films.
Yeah, I think it's just these 2, unless there's some lower budget ones that were made after that. But
Who made it?
This is the Big Silence one. This is directed by Raoul Walsh. I think more famous is Douglas Fairbanks, the main actor guy who did a lot of these kind of adventure movies from this period. So I'm excited to check it out. He looks ripped on the back. So yeah, it looks cool, and I like that kind of stuff. There's a magic carpet on the front. So yeah, another silent film. I'm excited to check that one out. What do you have to say about Ben-Hur, sir?
Well, so the first of Warner Brothers, we talked a little bit about this when we did our top 10 favorite boxed sets list. Mm-hmm. On there, I had this Ben-Hur set because this was the first of the Warner Brothers Ultimate Collector's Editions I had. And this, as a bonus feature, came with the
Oh, does it?
Ben-Hur. This, yeah, the silent film of Ben-Hur, which is from 1925.
Yeah.
2 hours and 23 minutes. Big deal when it came out. And so, because the 1959 version is generally what people think of when you say Ben-Hur now,
Hmm.
it was really cool of them to include that silent version of the movie. So I've owned it for over 10 years, and I finally want to watch it.
I
Uh,
did not know
but
that. That is even more. There's no reason I should not own that in my collection. It's ridiculous that I don't own that box set. I'm definitely getting it now. Man, I did not know that was on there. That's awesome.
I did a lot of research for the 59 movie because I was writing this big long paper on Ben-Hur that was going to be a video, and I'm scrapping that incarnation of the video, but I have still done a lot of research on Ben-Hur. So there was a film from the 19 teens, which is about a half an hour long, which is Ben-Hur. And then there was a stage production of it, which was ginormous. They had like treadmills and all this stuff. And apparently, this 1925 version is more of a film version of that huge stage show. And so it was made with a lot of the same costumes and same mentality, I think, from what it's been several years since I've looked into that. And so, but it was a big deal. But then once sound came around, they needed to make a sound version of it. So that's why the 59 version sort of is what it is.
Yeah, and spoiler alert, we might talk about this movie a little bit later. It might show up on my list. But anyway, I won't say anything now. We can just go ahead and move on to our number threes. All right, so number three for me is The Gold Rush. And Connor, Island of Lost Souls. I'm excited to hear you talk about that. But for me, The Gold Rush. So this one I've actually watched already. I watched this with my son. We've been watching a few of Charlie Chaplin's movies on the Criterion Channel. We watched, actually I have them right here, because I had to buy them because I like them so much. We watched The Circus first on Criterion Channel, and he loved it. He absolutely loved it. And then we watched The Kid, which is a fantastic movie, and every father should watch this with their son. It will make you cry. It's so good. So we watched those two, and then I wanted to check out The Gold Rush, because The Gold Rush is kind of the most adventure-y one, maybe modern times, but Gold Rush is in a collection on Criterion Channel that's called Daredevils and I don't know, something in Daredevil. So it's more adventure-y, more action-y. So I definitely want to check out Gold Rush, and I really liked it. It did not disappoint. I think I like those two better. I think this one was a little you could have trimmed a little fat. I think it was a little too it was kind of a slog. It kind of lost my son a little bit more so than those ones did. There was some lulls in it, and there's actually a 1942 version that he released. He released the same movie in 1942 with narration instead of the silent intertitles. So apparently he thought that he could make a better version of it too. So I'm interested to check out that version because it actually is a lot shorter. It's like 112 instead of 130. So he trimmed off about 20 minutes. So I'm interested to check that version out. And but I did like this version. Check out The Gold Rush if you're into any kind of Charlie Chaplin or silent comedy antics, because it was good.
Yeah, The Gold Rush is one of those movies I do want to check out. I didn't even really think of any of Chaplin's works as adventure-y, but I've also not really looked at a whole lot of Chaplin. I think I've seen Modern Times, and that's it. I didn't even realize this, but apparently The Kid was his first directorial debut movie. Like, that was his first movie.
Yeah, that's early.
So
What is that? 21. Yeah, that's super early. It's great.
Oh yeah,
If
my
that's
pick
his
is,
man right out the gate. He freaking nailed it because that's a really good movie, and it's only like 54 minutes, but it feels like a full movie.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so my next pick is, we're now moving into the sound era, 1932's Island of Lost Souls.
Yes.
This is what I'm actually picking up on your
Turn into that
recommendation.
Patrick gif.
It's this is technically a Universal monster movie.
Weird.
It is, yeah. So if you look up the Universal monsters, I think that was just what they broadly called their B movies of that era. So like there are some movies that you would look at them and think that's not really a monster movie, but it's kind of B tier, that same handful of producers that were making all of them made this. And it's also, early days. It's 32. It's based off of the H.G. Wells novel Island of Dr. Moreau that I now know because of you, DJ. But this has Bela Lugosi, who was Dracula, of course, and in a lot of other Universal monster movies. But it also has, as Dr. Moreau, Charles Lawton, who is a very great actor. He was in Spartacus. He's in this. He actually directed the film Night of the Hunter, which is now considered one of the greatest movies of all time. But upon release, it was widely hated, and so he never directed another movie. Nowadays,
that's the one about the creepy, abusive father, right?
Yeah, it's like the guy who has like the love and hate on his knuckles. And
I want to watch that, but I don't know if I'll be able to stomach it. It sounds like it's gonna be so hard for me to get through. But no, I've seen that. I've looked into that actually. Interesting. I didn't know it was the same director.
He was primarily an actor. Yeah. Well, he didn't direct this. He just
acted. Oh, okay. I got you. I'm with you.
But Charles Lawton as an actor is just. He's just really cool to me. I think he's easily the best thing about the Spartacus film with directed by Kubrick. Mm-hmm. So I'm just mostly going off of this based on your recommendation, and it's transitioning out of October where I watch mostly horror movies. This is sort of a horror-esque, or at least it has some monsters or creatures or whatever, but it also has that adventure type heartbeat in it. But that is something that could also be said for Creature from the Black Lagoon, which also scratches that adventure.
Yes, that could be on this list. Totally.
It could be, yeah. So I'm really excited to dig into it. I just got the Criterion, so I will be watching that this month.
Sweet. Yeah. Okay. To set your sights a little bit, this is probably less adventure-y than Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's a little more in one location, leans more into the horror. But I think you're gonna like it. I don't know. It could go either way, but I think you're gonna like it. But yeah,
I have a good track record with the Universal monster movies. I like most of them.
Yeah, and H.G. Wells is the man. All right, number 4 for me. Okay, there it is. I told you already. Ben-Hur has come back, and I'm excited to hear you talk about this because I have never heard you mention this at all. Mutiny on the Bounty. Oh. Interesting. All right. So Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ. This is one that I've actually already watched. So story behind this. I don't have that box set, so I had no way to watch this. But what I do is I have Hulu TV, as that's like my TV provider because my wife likes to watch sports and like other things that are current, like reality TV shows and stuff. So I have to have live TV for her. But the cool thing about it is, if you know anything about the TCM channel, Turner Classic Movies, they just play classic movies like from dawn to dusk every day, nonstop. And Hulu TV has a DVR software that you can just record things. Unfortunately, it's limited, and I keep filling it up, and things get overwritten because I have too much stuff in there. But so I use that to record Turner Classic Movies, and that's where I've seen a lot of these movies because a lot of them aren't readily available, and some of them aren't even on DVD yet, so they're really hard to find. So that is where I saved a while back. They played the Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ, the 1924 silent version, and I recorded it, and it's been in my queue just forever. And I had no motivation to get to it until I set out to watch a bunch of adventure movies this month. So I actually checked this one out a couple days ago, and I really liked it. I won't say too much because Connor hasn't seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to see what he has to say about it, especially because he's seen the remake and I have not. I still haven't seen the 59 version, so I want to check this one out first. And I'll just say I've never seen a silent movie on this level. Like, it is so epic, dude. It's like huge crowds of people, like shot at actual Rome locations, like giant. I don't even know if they're real or if they're miniature. I don't even know how they did it, but it looks massive. It's a huge epic. It's like you said, it's like 2.5 hours. Like, it's a really, really cool silent film. I learned on TCM because they have like this little preview, little guy that comes out and talks before they play the movie, that it is the most expensive silent film ever made, and I 100% believe it because it looks awesome. So definitely check it out. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on it. We might have to talk about it in a quick video or something after you've seen it. But
Well, going back to Die Nibelungen or whatever it's called, um,
That's perfect. Just keep saying that.
I when you Die Nibelungen, Oompa Loompas, what? Anyway, so the when it comes to like big, giant, epic productions of silent movies, they are so impressive. And maybe it's because we think we're so cool because of how advanced our technology is, but it does come across as super impressive when you go back and look at what they were capable of doing in the teens and 20s, the 19 teens and 20s, where it makes your jaw drop. Metropolis has several sequences that just blew my mind when I was a teenager.
Yeah, like if it's miniatures, they look too good to be miniatures. I think it's just real locations. Like it's massive. It's so cool. And the chariot scene, I know everyone talks about the 59 chariot scene. The chariot scene in Ben-Hur is no joke. It is intense. It's maybe a little too long, but it's pretty hardcore.
You've read the General Lew Wallace novel,
Yes,
right?
and that's why I didn't want to get too into it, but it's like one of my favorite books ever. And that's why I had some problems with this movie. I think it kind of loses focus. I think Ben-Hur gets kind of sidelined for I'm just going to say it. There's too much Jesus. Too much Jesus in this movie. I love Jesus as much as the next guy, but he's supposed to be a side character, a tertiary character in this story. He's supposed to cause Judah's character arc. You know, he makes him realize the errors of his ways, but he's not. He takes over in this movie. They do a lot of the story of Jesus in this movie instead of focusing on Ben-Hur, and he just kind of. That's what's cool about the book is like he's just happening at the same time as Jesus' story, and he just kind of comes in and like weaves. Like just every now and then he kind of weaves in and out of the story. Here it's like we focus a lot on his birth, and then on like there's like lots of scenes. And if you know anything about Lew Wallace, like he didn't want this to be adapted because he didn't think, and a lot of people at the time didn't think anybody could play Jesus because that would be weird, and all the people would revolt if they tried to. So to get around that in this movie, Jesus is just played by like a hand off screen or something. Like you never see his face. He's always just like a hand or a glow or something. And I don't know. It gets a little silly, and I think they could have just left some of that stuff out. We don't even really get the full resolution of Judah's character arc because we just kind of stop it. I don't know. That was my biggest downfall, but I mean the movie looks incredible and it's a really fun ride. I think you should watch it for the history anyway. But and I still really enjoyed it despite that. But I think I just wish they could have just a little bit closer to the book. But anyway, I said I wasn't going to talk about it. I talked about it forever.
Too much Jesus, says DJ. I'm very curious to know what you think of the 59 film, just based on what you said there. I'm now very curious to know what you think of that movie. It's also like 3 hours and 45 minutes, so good luck. But also, I've been trying to find that book at my local Barnes & Nobles for like years now. I will show up. I don't know if it's in the poetry section. I don't know if it's in the fiction section. I don't know where it's supposed to be, but I've been looking for it, and they never
Oh,
have
I
it
should have gave you one while you're here. I have like 3 versions of it. I have like some paperbacks. My wife, that was actually, you know how when you get married and you do like, every year you do a different theme gift, like a paper, then leather, and then whatever they all are. For the leather one, she actually contacted a leathersmith and like had Ben-Hur and The Robe, which is another one of my favorite books, like custom made with leather bounding. I didn't show those. I didn't even know you liked this that much. I could have showed them. They're on my shelf over there, but I have like these leather bound copies of Ben-Hur and The Robe on my shelf. Yeah. Sorry, cool. I should have gave you one while you were here, but yeah, hopefully you can find that and check it out. It's a long book.
Well,
so good luck.
I can imagine. I've been wanting to read it so I can like better understand that story. But you did Ben-Hur: A Tale of the Christ, which was later remade, and that remake won Best Picture. And I am selecting a film which did win Best Picture, and that is Mutiny on the Bounty, which I believe is 1935. Okay, it's 1935. Now, this movie also stars Charles Laughton, but it also has Clark Gable, and it also features the actor Eddie Quillen, I think. The point is, all 3 of these actors were nominated for Best Leading Actor at the Academy Awards, and I think this is the reason why there's a Best Supporting Actor category. It's because of this movie.
Oh, wow.
I don't know much about Mutiny on the Bounty. I know it's one of those classic stories. Captain Bligh is not quite as well known as someone like Captain Ahab, but he's still a figure that is often referenced. Oh, someone's home. My dogs are barking. I'm sorry, everybody. Um, but uh, but this does have that. This does have a history. The book of Mutiny on the Bounty is well known. Is it a true story or not? I don't know, but the point is it's had multiple film adaptations. Whether that was, I think, in the 60s, there was one in the 80s. I think Mel Gibson was in one. But this is widely regarded as the best adaptation, and it's about the USS Bounty and its crew being led by Captain Bligh, and apparently Captain Bligh is just the worst captain ever. And so, as you might expect, there's a mutiny on the Bounty. This story was actually parodied even on The Simpsons. And I'll always remember that because there's one of those episodes where it's like a clip show where they're all sitting at a seafood. The Simpsons family are sitting at a table at a seafood restaurant waiting for their food to come. And so then all of them start having these, like, it's sort of like a Treehouse of Horror, but instead of being horror themed, they're all like nautical story themed. And Bart's is Mutiny on the Bounty, where all of the kids are on the Bounty, all of the boys from school, and then Principal Skinner is Captain Bligh, and they say we're gonna get a mutiny. And then this stuck in my brain when I was a kid. It made me laugh. Is when Skinner goes, "Ha, a mutiny on the Bounty," ha! And I thought that was funny. So
wow, I've never heard of this.
Finally,
is that a Disney movie?
No, I don't think it is.
It looks exactly like the posters of those Disney movies from the time period that are all over Disney Plus. Wow, and you got a digibook. That's awesome.
Yes, I got this really cool digibook. This is a Best Picture winner, so I do want to watch it for that reason too.
That's cool. I need to check that out.
But
I like pirates.
This is Warner Brothers.
Ah,
Warner Brothers.
Interesting. Yeah. It must just look similar to a poster I've seen. Mm-hmm. But all right, there you go. Everything from Roman soldiers to pirates in that one. So let's see what our number 5s are. Oh, well, you're sticking around in the pirate area. My number 5 is a different time period. The Mark of Zorro. The 1940s one. Not the 20s one. 1940s, The Mark of Zorro. I have actually already seen this movie, and it is great. I freaking loved it. I watched it with my son, and we had a blast watching it. He's so cool. Like, and I'll say this because it goes right along with your pick. Like, I love Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn is awesome. What's his name? Tyrone Power in this is every bit as cool as Errol Flynn. Like he's like incredible with the sword. He's riding horses. He's jumping all over the place. Like he has such cool looks in this. Like he has the iconic like mask look with the hat and the cape, but he also has basically the shadow look. You know the shadow look where he wears it here?
Yeah.
He like there's 2 scenes where he doesn't wear the mask. He doesn't have his mask or whatever, so he just wears the cape like over his face, and it looks so cool. He's got like 2 iconic looks in this. But yeah, the sword fighting is awesome. There's a great sword fight with like the final boss in the last act. There's a stunt in this that like made my jaw drop and blew my mind, where he jumps a horse off of like a 50-foot bridge into a river. I didn't even know you could do that with the horse. Like, you probably can. It's probably not okay. The horse may have died. I don't know. But he's like trapped. It's like one of those things where like they're coming this way and they're coming this way, and he just jumps off the bridge with the horse, and the horse is like, yeah, and then he lands and he swims away. It was crazy. Really funny. Like the guy who plays basically the Friar Tuck of this, who's like the priest, I guess, or like the monk or something. He's really funny. The guy who the guy who plays Tyrone Power, who plays Zorro, is super charming and funny. And I don't know. I recently just watched the 94 version? The Mask of Zorro, I think last year or maybe early this year. And I really, really loved it. And this one is also great. Like, I don't know how you just make good Zorro movies, I guess. I guess Zorro movies are just easy to, or not easy, but people make really good ones because I really love this. So I have seen this one already, if you didn't notice.
I should add that one to the list. Tyrone Power and Errol Flynn and the sort of adventure films of that era are just not those. I'm just completely blind spotting those movies. Now, blind spotting is not a real word, except now it is. Because a movie was called Blind Spotting. So, anyways.
So, Adam March just mentioned in the chat, thank you, Adam March, that we both have a Rathbone film with these picks. That is true. Rathbone plays the villain in this movie, the guy that he was sword fighting with, and he's great also. I don't remember who Rathbone is in Captain Blood, but I have seen Captain Blood, and it's great. I'm glad you're checking it out.
Ooh, okay, cool. Also, just speaking of these kind of piratey, I guess I have High Seas. I have a lot of High Seas adventure movies
you do.
This year. I guess I was just sort of in the mood for that because I have plenty of swords coming up later. Don't you worry, everybody. But sword fights are really cool. And I remember I heard somebody, I can't remember if it was at school or if it was in a YouTube video. This was a while back, but I remember this one guy saying, we don't get really cool sword fights in movies anymore. And I was like, that's not true. And then I thought about it, and that's pretty true. There's not a lot of cool sword fights anymore. I was trying to remember the last time I saw a sword fight, even if it's like
Pirates,
a lightsaber
Pirates,
fight from Star Wars.
like the original Pirates trilogy. For me,
but even then, a lot of them are like there's sword fights on top of ship fights, on top of a Kraken coming to get them,
on top of a whirlpool.
You know what I mean? On top of a whirlpool. It's not just a cool sword fight. There's that one between Will
in the
and
first one.
Captain
Yeah,
Jack.
in the first one.
In the first one, it's really cool. That was like my favorite scene from the first one. Yeah, I guess. So I'm trying to find good sword fights, you know, and I guess I just sort of tie that in my head with High Seas Adventure. But you're right. I need to check out Zorro. I need to check out all of the Zorros, really. There might be some Zorro on this list. You never know. But Captain Blood, it's cool that you've seen this because I've not. This is Errol Flynn, and he's most well known, I think, for playing Robin Hood in The Adventures of Robin Hood. But I think he did this just before that.
I think this is just as big.
After.
Yeah, I think this is one of his big ones. This is an epic too. It's pretty long. Have you looked at the time? I remember it being pretty long. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it was pretty. Do you have a Blu-ray of this?
I don't. I'm going to be getting one. It's directed by Michael Curtiz, who would later go on to direct Casablanca. It stars Errol Flynn, and this movie was nominated for Best Picture.
Wow.
As was The Adventures of Robin Hood, starring Errol Flynn.
Man, why can't we get adventure movies nominated anymore? Like, that's crazy. That's crazy to me. Like, imagine if a Robin Hood movie got nominated these days. Like, we don't make them like we used to. It's such a bummer.
Well, and there's a lot, and this was during the age when there was like 12 nominees a year. So maybe they were trying to have like representation of like romance and drama and adventure and comedy and just all of the, all of what was representative of the different facets of movies are being represented. Maybe that was what their angle was. But regardless, 2 Errol Flynn movies were nominated for Best Picture at the time. And I don't know anything about Captain Blood except it's got Errol Flynn. It's directed by Michael Curtiz. I looked it up. It's only 2 hours long, and it's a pirate movie. So that's what I got. That's what I got.
Cool. Yeah, I checked that one out a while ago. That was one that I recorded on TCM that I hadn't heard of at all. But I was like, oh, cool. I had just watched Robin Hood, and I was like, oh, another one. Let me check it out. And it's great. It's black and white still, and I think it's got more character stuff going on than Robin Hood. It might not be as iconic, but I think it's really good. One more thing about the Mark of Zorro is if you're a superhero fan at all in any capacity, you gotta watch this because it's like the birth of it, man. Like he's like Clark Kent, dude. He's like Bruce Wayne. He does it exactly. He acts like this wimpy like guy. I would never. The sword is not for me. Like and he's always acting like he's not into politics or whatever. He just wants to lounge around and have the fancy things. Like, and then he turns it and he's Zorro and he's kicking everyone's butt and he's awesome and like he fools everyone. Like it's like a Christopher Reeve performance. Like he's so good at, and like he's also so good at like manipulating. Like it's kind of like the Daredevil thing where he's not just trying to like kill the bad guy. He's trying to get him to leave. Because it's like a dictatorship thing where he's trying to get him to resign and appoint his father back, who used to be in charge before of him. and he's trying to like manipulate him as the Clark Kent version. I don't actually know what his real name is, but he's trying to do that. And he's manipulating his wife also, because she just wants to know about everything that's going on in Spain. She wants all the fancy, finer parts of life. And he's trying to get the guy to leave and go to Spain and resign his post. And he's also doing it at night as Zorro, like foiling all of his plans. He's hitting all angles. He's so cool. I love that movie. It was really good. I'm rambling.
Certainly be looking it up. I need to.
I'm rambling at this point. I don't even know if I'm making sense, but it really got me in a place as someone who loves superheroes, seeing that where it all originated from. Was basically just Batman and Superman in one. It was really cool.
Oh, that's cool. I need to check it out.
All right, number 6. Speaking of Errol Flynn, we've got an Errol Flynn double feature here for you. Errol Flynn, The Seahawk, is my number 6. I have not seen The Seahawk. I've seen Adventures of Robin Hood. I've seen Captain Blood. But this is, I'm assuming, I don't know much about this at all, except that I recorded it on TCM, and it is an Errol Flynn movie. So it has to go on this list. It has to be adventure-y. And I'm assuming because it's The Seahawk that it's like a boat thing, another high seas adventure. So I'm really looking forward to this one to complete my like Errol Flynn trilogy of movies that I've seen. So I've actually seen this. I look up a lot of letterbox lists of like top adventure movies, and this one shows up a lot. So I know it's pretty well renowned. So I'm excited to check it out.
Cool. Yeah, and we talked a little bit about Errol Flynn and Tyrone Power and just that whole adventure swashbuckling type of vibe. So obviously I have Adventures of Robin Hood on here. I just need to be more educated and just watch the big Errol Flynn performance. And there isn't a bigger Errol Flynn performance than Robin Hood. I think when you think Robin Hood, you're thinking of this particular incarnation. I think I've never seen Robin Hood Men in Tights. From what I understand, it's mostly doing a parody of this.
Yeah, it looks like it is. I haven't seen it either, but it looks just like this.
So I'm excited. I'm gonna check it out. Best Picture nominee, and it's directed by Michael Curtiz, who would later go on to do Casablanca, but also William Keighley, who I don't know anything about, but just looking at his filmography, he did a lot of sort of B movies that were maybe a little, less classy than what Michael Curtiz was known for doing. So I'm excited to check this one out.
Yeah, I'm excited too, and I'm excited that we both got an. I had to get an Errol Flynn on here because I knew you got 2, so I'm excited I was able to get this one on here. But that's our number 6. We won't talk too much because we don't know too much about them, but I'm sure they're going to be great. Number 7. Guess what? We've joined. This is. I was like, I didn't think this was going to happen. I thought it's amazing that this happened actually because we're going in chronological order. This is both of our number 7s. And it deserves to be talked about together because I think it's like a really, really good movie. If what I've heard is correct about this, but this is The African Queen, Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn. Oh, What a cast! Already, I'm excited. This was playing in my theater this year, and I really wanted to go, but stuff came up and I couldn't make it, and I'm really bummed. This has been on my list for a while. This is one I didn't have to record. It's actually on Amazon Prime right now. So if anyone wants to check this out after we talk about it, Amazon Prime, The African Queen. Do you know much about this besides who's in it and just its reputation?
It's directed by John Huston, who is the man who created film noir. So the dude knows a little something. He's also made, widely considered the greatest Western up there anyways, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Yes.
I've
seen that. That's great. So I'm excited now.
John Huston is like one of the godfathers of modern cinema. So he's worked extensively with Humphrey Bogart, as I said, Maltese Falcon, Treasure of the Sierra Madre. I got the Blu-ray. I've had this Blu-ray for a while. Eureka just put out this new transfer for it, but it's Region B locked, so that sucks. So I can't import that and have it play. So regardless, I know this is one of my stepfather's favorite movies. He loves this movie. And from what I understand, something like the recent Disney film Jungle Cruise is really just kind of looking at this movie specifically, amongst other stuff, specifically ripping its structure off entirely from the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie. But this is one that, honestly, it's on this list. This was sort of what this and Indiana Jones birthed the desire to watch adventure movies this month, because on the AFI Top 100, it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then the next one up is The African Queen.
Nice.
So I know it's about Humphrey Bogart, who plays a bit of a blue-collar guy, and Katharine Hepburn is, some rich lady, and they are stuck on a boat together, and they've got to
perfect casting.
Traverse the jungle.
From what that sounds like, it sounds like perfect casting from everything I've seen those actors in. That's great.
Yeah, so maybe Katharine Hepburn's charms will work on me this time, as opposed to bringing up Baby, which they did not.
You need to watch the Philadelphia Story. I've got to get you to watch the Philadelphia Story.
I will. I will.
James Stewart and Katharine Hepburn
Cary
and Cary Grant, man. How does that not sell you? We'll do...
It does. It does. I own it. It did sell me. I own it. Doesn't Frank Capra make that movie too? Or is that Greg Cocker?
I don't think it's Frank Capra, because I haven't seen very many of his movies. But no, it's whoever did it. He did a fantastic job, because it's a great movie.
Awesome.
But no, African Queen. I'm really excited. I know nothing about it. I'm assuming it takes place in Africa, and it's like some river boat adventure, like based on what you just said. So I'm excited to check that one out. All right, number 8, and I'm kind of bummed that you didn't get this as your number 7. But Connor's number 8 is Seven Samurai, and my number 8 is It Came From Beneath the Sea, which I know absolutely nothing about. All I know is that it is the cover of this box set, and so if you've been following my channel at all, you know that this box set has come up a million times, and you're probably tired of me bringing it up, but this is the end, I promise, because I'm finally watching these movies. It Came From Beneath the Sea is one of these movies in this box set, and these box sets were basically the reason I did this in the first place. I was like, I need to finally get through these box sets. I paid so much money for all 3 of them that it's absurd that I haven't seen any of these movies. So I'm trying to get through these movies this month, and then I just added a few other ones just to make it more of an event. But this is it. It Came From Beneath the Sea. I know it has stop motion from the great Ray Harryhausen. This is the earliest one. What is this? This is super early. 1955.
Whoa.
So this is one of Ray Harryhausen's earliest. I don't think it's one of his bests based on the reviews on Letterboxd, but I'm sure the stop motion is top notch, and I'm excited to check it out. What is it? It's a monster movie. I love monster movies. What could go wrong? So there it is. I love that title. I love that treatment of that text. That's so cool, with the gradient coming down, like the slime. Super cool. It Came From Beneath the Sea.
That looks exactly like my kind of thing. I love that aesthetic. I love the 50s B movie, like The Blob, like stuff like that is just my kind of jam. And that looks like, with Harryhausen on it, what's not to love?
Yeah, that's the sad thing, is that like no one knows the directors of any of these movies. They just think of them as Ray Harryhausen movies, and all he did was the special effects. Can you imagine that today? If like we thought of movies based on the guy who did the visual effects, like we don't even know the guy who did the visual effects these days. Like he was so big, like he took over from the director. It's insane.
I've always said this to like my brother and like friends and whatnot. I guess this is the first time I'm saying this out loud, because in this statement there is a little bit of maybe a hubris inherently. But if I ever like win an Academy Award and with that power I can direct anything, I would want to basically just remake a Godzilla movie, one specific Godzilla movie, Godzilla versus Monster Zero, aka Invasion of Astro Monster. But the idea would be I would scour the globe and try to find the best special effects supervisor ever, and I would want that sort of thing where whoever does the special effects on that Godzilla movie would basically become like the new guy in special effects. And I don't want any recognition from directing this hypothetical remake of a Godzilla movie. I want it all to be on like how cool the special effects are. So,
sweet. Hey, never say never, man. I'll support you.
Hey. But no, you're absolutely right when it comes to Harryhausen. Like I just assumed he was both a director and a special effects guy until like you were talking about how no one really knows who the directors of these movies are because we all think of them as Harryhausen films.
It is. I guess I could tell you, but yeah, it's directed by Robert Gordon. No offense to Robert Gordon, he might be a good director, but it's funny. But talk about Seven Samurai, because it's a shame that I haven't seen this. This is like one of the highest rated movies on Letterboxd. That's like a 4.5, right? That's
Whoa,
crazy.
Yeah, hold on, let me look that up. Yeah, I think you might be right. Yeah, 4.5.
Jeez.
So this is Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. This is widely regarded as his masterpiece. It's like 3.5 hours long. It's a commitment for sure. But this is like consummate Criterion Collection, right? This is number 2. This is always in print from Criterion. You can always get your hands on this. I don't know why I haven't seen it yet, because Japanese cinema is the, world cinema that I am have my most experience in is
people
Japanese
in the chat
cinema.
are screaming at us that we need to see this. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, guys. It'll happen. Trust me.
Oh man.
But I want to watch this with my brother. I know that basically I have seen this movie interpreted at least a dozen times. This is A Bug's Life. This is The Magnificent Seven, and The Magnificent Seven, and The Magnificent Seven, and The Magnificent Seven. And it's also...
I was gonna say, I've seen The Magnificent Seven, this 1960s one, 1960, and I really love it. I've seen The Three Amigos. I've seen Galaxy Quest. I've seen A Bug's Life. Like, all three of those are like the comedy version of this story. Like, I've seen every version except for I've even seen the new one with Chris Pratt. Ugh. Yeah. I'm horrible. What's wrong with me?
I don't... Well, I mean, to be fair, 3.5 hours is commitment. To be honest, I've actually never watched any Kurosawa.
Me neither.
So this is one that I will finally pop the cherry on my Kurosawa filmography and just... I'm sorry, I was trying to find a euphemism. You all know what I'm saying. But it's... I'm excited, and I think this is like definitely the one that most people watch first when they're going into Kurosawa. He made High and Low. He made Yojimbo and Rashomon, and just a bunch of these great classics that I will absolutely get around to watching. But this is probably the most beloved world cinema adventure movie there is, because it's a tale that's been interpreted countless times.
Yeah, I guess it is adventure. I wouldn't have thought about this as an adventure movie until you just said that, or until I saw it on your list and I actually thought about it. I guess I thought of it more like I don't know what I thought, like a war movie, or like just more of a drama. I don't know. I guess I didn't think of it as an adventure movie, but yeah, I think it is. I think it totally qualifies, and I'm glad you're finally watching it. Maybe I'll watch it someday.
It's probably on the Criterion Channel as like a...
Yeah, I think it's always on the... I don't think they're ever going to take it off the Criterion Channel. I think it's definitely on there. All right. Number 9. Oh, well, speaking of the Criterion Channel, here you go with your next one. So my next one is a weird one because, so, like I said, I've got this box set, which is Ray Harryhausen's Sinbad trilogy. But there are Sinbad movies that came out in between these ones that Ray Harryhausen did not have any involvement with, which is really weird. Oh. So they did like a special Sinbad double feature on TCM a while back, and this is one of them. My number 9 is Son of Sinbad, which came out in 1955, which is before any of this trilogy. So that one kind of makes sense because it was before Ray Harryhausen got involved. But there's one later that's like in between these ones, which is really weird. But this is Son of Sinbad. I don't think it's a sequel to anything. Maybe it is. If you guys know in the chat, let me know. But I think it's just it's called Son of Sinbad, and it came out in 1955. I've actually seen a Sinbad movie that was earlier. That was I wish I knew when that was. I'll look it up after this, but it was like 30s or 40s. And so this is Son of Sinbad. I know nothing about it. They played on TCM with the other one that I'm about to mention later in my list, but it was a double feature. And I recorded on TCM. I'm finally going to check it out. It's a Sinbad movie, and it's not one of the famous ones, so it's probably not that great. But I'm looking forward to it. I like Sinbad; he's cool.
Well, that's the kind of thing you need to be watching, and if you want to find hidden gems, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're playing it on TCM, so it's at least beloved by somebody, by some group of people.
So my next pick isn't any one movie; it's 6 films. It is Lone Wolf and Cub, which I have in this lovely box set. If you want to see me open it up and talk all about it, we did a couple of videos talking about our July Criterion 2021 pickups. Mm-hmm. But this includes Lone Wolf and Cub, Sword of Vengeance, Baby Cart at the River Styx, Baby Cart to Hades, Baby Cart in Peril, Baby Cart in the Land of Demons, and White Heaven in Hell. So I'm going to be watching this during Thanksgiving week. I don't know why this particular series on Thanksgiving, but there's 7 days in a week, 6 movies. I can miss one. But honestly speaking, like when it comes to samurai movies, Kurosawa obviously sort of is what you think of, but a lot of other people were making samurai movies, and this is basically, like if you like The Mandalorian is basically just Star Wars version of Lone Wolf and Cub. So I want to get to the bottom of this and watch it. There's actually also included on this a 7th movie, which is just an American or North American edit of the first 2 movies into one movie called Shogun Assassin, which is how America became familiar with this series for the longest time, was just as Shogun Assassin. So I just for obviously academic reasons, I'd be curious to know what that is. So yeah, Lone Wolf and Cub, that is my next pick.
Sweet. Yeah, you're gonna have to let me know how those are, because I almost want to buy that just on that beautiful box set alone. It's so pretty.
By the way, John Henry says that Son of Sinbad is surely better than Son of the Mask. Yeah. And I would say
I think I could agree without even having seen it. But who knows? Who knows? All right, number 10. Here we go. We're halfway through this. Going back to my Volume 1 box set of Ray Harryhausen for this one. My number 10 is 20 Million Miles to Earth. What is that? I have no idea. So first it came from Beneath the Sea. Now this is 20 million miles to Earth. So I'm guessing, Terror from Outer Space. So now we got a monster movie about a monster that comes from space. Seems to be some kind of lizard, Godzilla-esque shaped looking monster. I don't know. It's going to be awesome. I get to watch stop motion monsters destroy cities. What more could I want? Look at those beautiful discs. I love Indicator. These sets are absolutely beautiful. Check these out if you can. This is actually from the Volume 1 set, which is actually pretty affordable on eBay. They're all out of print, but actually I think the Sinbad one just came back in print. So get on that and buy it for $60 like a normal person instead of the crazy price that I paid for it. But yeah, this is from Volume 1. It's pretty easy to get your hands on. Terror from Outer Space, 20 million miles to Earth. Don't know much about it, but I'm going to check it out.
It's interesting because like when I was putting together my October watch list last month, I was trying to find different avenues of horror because from the year beforehand, I got burnt out pretty heavily on the same kind of horror trope. So trying to find Young Frankenstein as a comedy and trying to find different other horror movies that shook it up a little bit. I think I should have done that this time around because you're bringing in the sort of more science fiction, like kind of B-movie special effects adventure, and I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
but that looks like a lot of fun. Don't give me any
credit. I just did it because it was in this box set. But yeah, I like these. These are pretty diverse box sets. Like you see, the next one is not anything like a monster movie like these two. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I don't think my list is as diverse as my October list either. My October list was. It's diverse, but it kind of stops at a certain year. I know yours goes more recent than mine. And my Halloween list went more recent too, but I think I stop at like the 80s, so I don't have anything recent in this list. Spoiler alert. Sorry I don't want any old stuff. I'm out of here. We just lost, half the chat. But But yeah, I wish it's adventure movie. I don't think of it modern adventure movies anymore. I think of it like a genre that doesn't really exist anymore. And if it the ones that do exist are like so few and far between that I've seen them all. So
And I was talking about this with my brother, and we were thinking, like, what's adventure, right? Like when you go into a video store, when that don't exist anymore. But when you went into when you went to a video store, it was action/adventure,
yeah,
and you think, oh yeah, there's plenty of action in adventure movies, and you think, well, there's a lot of action movies, that's for sure. And I guess you could look at the Marvel movies and say, well, there's always an adventure. Look at Shang-Chi. They go from one continent to the next. Look at Infinity War. They're going from one planet to another planet. But I don't know. When I think about those, to coin a Pixarism, it's to me, it's all about the spirit of adventure, right? And I would say Up absolutely is one of the best it's ever. Maybe it is the best one. But what I think of as like the trademark action adventure movie, when you say action adventure or just adventure, I think Indiana Jones. It's just where my brain immediately goes to.
Such a good score.
The music, locations, went out there and planted their camera on the ground and went into the sand and dug up stuff. Like, it feels great. And so this was actually the movie that kicked it off. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's going to be one of the movies I watch. And when I say kicked it off, I'm not just talking about this franchise. I'm talking about wanting to watch all of these adventure movies this month, because that's the next movie on the AFI list that I'm going to be watching. And conveniently, just earlier today, I just took my little brother to go watch Last Night in Soho. And afterwards he said, I've been meaning to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark again. And I said, well, I'm just going to watch it the next couple of days, dude. Come on over to my apartment and we can check it out. So I'll be watching that with him.
Wow, yeah. That's spooky. Yeah. Adventure through November. We should have had some kind of like voice actor do a soundbite for us for our little logo. But yeah, I've only seen, you're never going to believe this, I've only seen the Indiana Jones movies one time. And it was very late. Like, it was just a few years ago. Like, I did not grow up on those movies. They were a little too rough for me. Or not for me, but like my parents never thought to show them to me. So yeah, I'm a late bloomer with those. I've only seen them once. I do want to rewatch them at some point though. All right, moving along. Let's jump over to another box set, because my next one, let me get our little posters up here. Sorry, so much behind the scenes stuff to do this week. Boom.
You're doing great, by the way. You're doing awesome. Juggling.
Yeah, I need a producer. Like, too bad I don't get paid for this, because then I could hire a producer. If that ever happens, years down the road. My next one is another Sinbad movie, but it is from the box set this time. The beautiful box set. Look at that. Sinbad. All right, the first one up. The first Ray Harryhausen Sinbad movie. The most iconic one, the big one. The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. Look at that. Look at that skeleton. Look at that cyclops. Look at that, whatever that is back there, a dragon horse thing. Oh, I'm so excited. Like, this, along with, Clash of the Titans and Jason and the Argonauts, is like the big iconic stop motion adventure movie. Like, this is it, man. I'm super excited to get to this one. Directed by Nathan H. Juran. Whoever that is, all I know is Ray Harryhausen did the special effects, and I'm super pumped to check that one out. Hopefully it's better than Son of Sinbad. I'm sure it's going to be. Son of Sinbad might be great. I'm sitting here disparaging Son of Sinbad. It might be good. I don't know. I'm just making jokes. But what do you want to say about... So this is going to be kind of...
You want to have that, because that way it's like you watch Son of Sinbad, and if you think it's great and that's even better, hey, right? Then there's two movies you love, right?
There you go.
Who does?
Win-win.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh yeah, go ahead and whip your box set back out there, sir.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna turn the page. We got Temple of Doom. Hey. So this is a movie that I remember when I was a kid.
The worst Indiana Jones movie.
I hated it as a kid.
I know. I'm kidding. Kidding. Before everyone in the chat lights me up, that's like a joke. Like, a lot of people don't like Temple of Doom. Just a joke. Don't kill me.
Yeah. But I remember, so my little brother, because I have a twin brother and we have a little brother, and our experiences with the Star Wars and Indiana Jones franchises are inverted, where I think, at least I do, I'm sure a lot of others have this, where they think of Star Wars and Indiana Jones as synonymous. Lucas and Spielberg were best friends. Lucas did a lot of work for the stories on the Indiana Jones films, and Harrison Ford's in both of them, etc. But when I was a kid, when I was like little, I was super into Star Wars, and I didn't watch Indiana Jones until I was like 10 or 11. And the inverse happened with my little brother, where he was crazy into Indiana Jones when he was a little kid. I remember when we would go to our mom's on the weekends, I would wake up in the middle of the night because the menus, he would fall asleep watching all of these movies constantly, and I'd wake up to the Indiana Jones music in the middle of the night.
It'll get in your head
all
too.
the time.
It'll be in there for a week. You're going to be in trouble after a week of watching these movies.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's just a little anecdote to say, when I watched when my little brother Levi was watching Temple of Doom, that was the first time I had seen it since I was a 10-year-old, and I was sort of bracing for impact, and I liked it, and I was like, what? I like this movie? That's crazy. So I'm curious to know if I'll still like it, if I'll like it more, or if I'll go back to not liking it all that much, because this does remain a bit of a divisive movie in the franchise. So I'm excited to get into Temple of Doom.
Yeah, great joke in Always Sunny. You know that episode where they're stuck in those people's homes, and Mac and Charlie are in the van, like talking to them on the walkie-talkie, and they're like, I don't even remember what they're saying. I don't even remember the joke exactly, but I know like they're talking about how it's the best franchise ever, and they're like, well, Crystal Skull's not that great, and they're like, well, Temple Doom, yeah, I mean, and then Charlie's like, I like that one. So even among the gang, Mac and Charlie disagree on whether that's a good one or not, But no, I think I like that one better now. I was younger when I saw those, and I wasn't as my palette wasn't as broad as it is now with film, and that one is. I don't think I was ready to watch it yet, but now I think I would like it better, especially after seeing things like the 1942 Jungle Book, which is not on my list because I've seen it before. I didn't say that at the beginning. I haven't seen any of these movies, but I would watch that movie every month if I could because I love that Jungle Book. Everybody go watch the 1942 Jungle Book. Sabu!
Starring who?
Sabu! And there's no Sabu on my list. I'm so upset. Like, I couldn't get my hands on any Sabu movies.
What?
I didn't have any recorded, and there's none on any streaming services that I haven't already seen. So,
Okay.
I was actually looking last month because Kino had their big sale, their big October sale, and there's a couple of Sabu movies that they have that I was thinking about getting, but they weren't part of the sale, so it wouldn't really make a difference. But anyway, Sabu. We're gonna do a whole Sabu month later. Don't worry, we'll catch up on Sabu.
Anytime I get a chance to hear DJ geek out about Sabu, I'm gonna take it because I love hearing him.
Oh man,
crush on that Indian stunt man.
Sabu is the best. All right, number 12. Jumping back to my Volume 1 set. This is very different. First two were monster movies, one from space, one from underground. This one is the Three Worlds of Gulliver. What? Gulliver's Travels? Did you know this existed? And what an insane poster, by the way. It's just like the Brady Bunch layout with like different colors in each one. I don't know what that's supposed to be about, but look at that. Talk about adventure. Look, he's on a ship. He's in fighting a giant alligator. Like, he's doing all kinds of stuff on this. Like, I've never read Gulliver's Travels. It's a really cool. It's one of those books. You know what I love when authors do, and they don't do it anymore. Maybe they do. But they used to do it a lot. Every time an adventure or sci-fi or fantasy book, they would write it as if they're a character in the story, where they're like, "Oh, I'm barely getting this back to you." And like they're writing, they're like as if they're calling the adventure that they survived getting through. That's what Gulliver's Travels is like.
Okay.
I've never read it, but I have a beautiful version of it that I keep on my shelf, and I looked at it a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I got to read that at some point." But yeah, this is a movie adaptation of Gulliver's Travels. It's called The Three Worlds of Gulliver. Ray Harryhausen, stop motion. I'm excited to check this one out because it's going to be more than just, monsters or dinosaurs or like, which is what he's known for, but this is going to be a little different. And obviously you have that kind of iconic scene where he goes to the land of like the little people and they like tie him up and everything that they've homage to death in every movie. Like even the Night at the Museum movies do that with Owen Wilson. So yeah, I'm really excited to check this one out. This is a little off the beaten path, different from all the other Ray Harryhausen stuff. Not a monster movie and not a like Greek myth movie or anything. And it's got a really good rating on. It's pretty good. It's got 3 stars on Letterboxd, so people on there like it. It's 1960, so we're getting a little later now. So I'm excited. Gulliver, with no Jack Black.
Oh man, my joke is going to be, and my pick is Gulliver's Travels from 2010.
Sorry to undercut you there.
No, it's fine. It's fine. All right. No, it's not. It's Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh God, so it's got a theme here. This guy's stuck on this one franchise.
So this is the Blu-ray. No, this is not the Blu-ray. This is the Blu-ray packaging. That's awesome. And then they put out the 4Ks, and the packaging was less awesome. And I'm not going to buy the 5th one. Doing a 5th Indiana Jones movie without Steven Spielberg. What are they going to do next? A 5th Scream movie without Wes Craven? Come on. But anyways, so what I did was I took all the 4Ks out of the box and I swapped them with the Blu-ray packaging because this packaging is awesome.
It's so good. I got it on the shelf.
I got nothing really to say about this beyond when I was a kid. Last Crusade was my favorite, and I am curious to know if it will still be my favorite. But
it's my
it does
favorite.
have Sean Connery.
It's also my favorite. It's really good.
It's got Sean Connery in it. I love him. This will probably be the first Connery movie I've watched since he passed away. And when I was a kid, Indiana Jones, like specifically Connery era James Bond, specifically Connery era James Bond was my favorite. And so it'll be pretty cool to go back and check him out as Indy's dad in this movie.
Yeah, the Connery era of Indiana Jones was really short. It was just 1 year. But no, the third one's my favorite. It's so weird. It's like a given that the third one is really, really good because nobody ever gets mad at it for sequelitis, which is like it's so similar to the first one. Like you're bringing Nazis back, you're bringing the Christian artifact back. Like it's the same movie, but it's so good that no one cares. They're just like, yes, it's so good. Obviously, I know there's a lot of different stuff going on in there, but it's funny that I never hear that complaint lobbed at it. But yeah, I love that one. That one's my favorite. At this point in time, I've only seen him once. Maybe if I go back, that will change. I know a lot of people's favorite is Raiders, but we'll see. All right, number 13. Here we go. This is our first venture into the Volume 2 box set, which is The Mysterious Island, which I believe is based on a Jules Verne book. I'm not sure. I don't know much about this. It isn't a balloon. That's what I can gather from the cover, that they are traveling somewhere in a balloon. So that sounds like an adventure to me. I mean, I don't go on balloon escapades very often. So yeah, I'm excited to check this one out. It's another, I don't even know what is stop motion in this because the cover's giving me nothing. It's just a balloon. Let's see if the alternate cover in here gives me anything more. Oh, we got a little bit more. We got a balloon, and we got some kind of island mountains. We've got like Sean Connery looking dude with a spear and a spacesuit, or like some kind of futuristic air travel suit. And then of course, I mean it's the 60s, and it's like a sci-fi thing. We've got to have a woman laying in the dust in like a scantily clad yellow outfit. But I'm excited. I'm going into this one completely blind. It says, they plunged into a world of incredible dangers amid mysterious forces. That's about the vaguest description I could ever get about a movie. So we'll see. We'll see if this one's good. I'll let you guys know.
Quick question. Is Journey to the Center of the Earth a Jules Verne novel?
Yes.
Oh, well, they did make Journey to the Mysterious Island. Maybe that has something to do.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Maybe that's...
Yeah,
maybe
well,
that's
I know Mysterious Island is a Jules Verne novel. I just didn't know if this was based on that. But I'm assuming it is. I just didn't want to spout things that I didn't double check, but I'm pretty sure that it is. But yes, oh my goodness. I did not watch that one. I did see the first one, the Brendan Fraser one, Journey to the Center of the Earth. This is why we don't make adventure movies anymore. Sorry if you like that movie in the chat, but
I feel like maybe high tech being like this, we've discovered everything on Earth. Like that's maybe why there's not a lot of
it kind of
adventure
ruins it.
stuff. It's
Yeah,
always
it
like
always has to
high
be.
tech and
Yeah,
yeah.
in order to explain it, it has to be some kind of like island that doesn't show up on radar for some reason, and then you got to introduce some kind of like sci-fi element or something that's like cloaking. I don't know. It's a sticky situation. You got to set them as period. If you're gonna do it, you got to set them as period pieces.
Yeah, or hey, I mean, look, we have barely scratched the surface on what to look for underwater. Why don't we have more like 20,000 Leagues Beneath the Sea or like something else like that?
Yeah,
right?
that's not
like,
on my list. That's a famous Disney movie, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah.
It's a crime. Oh, by the way, I should have got it down, but again, I've seen them all, so they're not on this list. There should be no adventure list. Oh, I didn't even think about this. You should have some Karel Zaman movie, at least one Karel Zaman movie on your list. I can't believe you don't. Oh man,
I'm ashamed. While you were talking about that, I was like, wait a minute. I've got 3 of those movies.
Yeah, Karel Zaman.
Over on my
Karel Zaman
shelf.
is the king of adventure movies. Check out his movies if you haven't. Journey to the Beginning of Time and what's the second one called? Invention for Destruction. The fabulous Baron Munchausen, is a whole list of. He has a whole bunch of books in history where he just goes on crazy adventures. So yeah, check out Karel Zaman. He should be on this list. I have seen all those 3 already though. So
Stephen Murphy says that he's plugging Around the World in 80 Days. I forgot to put Around the World in 80 Days, which is
I've seen that. I love that movie. That's really good. Have you not seen that?
Well, I have never seen this, and it's a Best Picture winner, and I'm trying to watch more of those. That's why I put like the ones that were nominated, starring Errol Flynn. That's why I have Mutiny on the Bounty on here. I can't believe I forgot to put this on.
Yes, you should. You should. That is the definition of an adventure movie. There's no science fiction. There's no fantasy elements. It's literally just going around the world, getting caught in all these crazy adventures and shenanigans. That's a really good movie, and the score of that movie is on point. Like, I listen to that score just on YouTube while I'm working sometimes. It's a really good score. I like that movie a lot. No Blu-ray of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. I've been watching pensively every week. I got my handful of movies that I want to see come to Blu-ray that are still never coming.
Yeah, we should do that video at some point.
But my
I have a
pick,
list too.
My pick is my next pick comes to us from 1992. This is from director Michael Mann, and it is starring none other than Daniel Day-Lewis. It's The Last of the Mohicans.
One of my dad's favorite movies of all time.
I don't know anything about this movie, to be perfectly honest. I know it exists. I know who's in it. I know who directed it. I know it's from the 90s. I will check it out because I hear a lot of people champion this movie. I'm always a little nervous now because I hear Michael Mann is like awesome and he's a great director. The only movie I've really seen from him is the worst movie I've ever seen in my entire life, and that's Black Hat from the year 2015, which I thought was just abhorrent. I hated everything about it.
Well, maybe he just lost his
put me to sleep.
Maybe he just lost his mojo. Maybe he was making good movies.
But I'm thinking everybody loves his other movies, so I'm thinking I should just get over it. I should watch Collateral. I should watch Heat. I should finally watch Heat. I'm finally gonna watch Last of the Mohicans. So that's my many years later antidote to Black Hat.
Awesome. Yeah, like I said, that's one of my dad's favorite movies. I've seen it actually. It's really good.
Oh, cool.
All right, number 14. Taking it back to Sinbad. This is the other side of that double feature that was on TCM. That's not in the box set. This is Captain Sinbad. What is this? Captain Sinbad from 1963. So, like I said, you've got the 7th voyage of Sinbad here, like in the early 60s. And then you somehow got Captain Sinbad sandwiched in here. I don't know if it was by a different studio or if Ray Harryhausen just didn't want to come back for it. He was busy with other things. I don't know the history of it, but he's not back for this one. This is a completely different director, completely different special effects supervisor. And then we'll come back to these other 2 Ray Harryhausen Sinbads later. But yeah, this is Captain Sinbad. Don't know anything about it.
Nice.
I don't know if it's related to Son of Sinbad. I don't know if there was like because it's public domain, I don't know if like two studios had the rights at the same time or something. I don't know. I'll learn more about it when I see these. But yeah, I'm excited to check out another 5 Sinbad movies on my list. What? That's insane.
Well, I think it's cool. I like how, like a true adventurer, you're going into uncharted territory. You don't know what the connection is, what's really out there, but you're doing it anyways. I like it.
All right, tell me about this one. I love this. I love that he got back on here twice.
Yes, so this is from the year 1998.
Oh, wow.
This is The Mask of Zorro, starring Catherine Zeta-Jones and, of course, Antonio Banderas.
Oh, iconic. So good.
So everyone loves this movie. And growing up, I've only ever heard people talk about this movie with great fondness. This is directed by Martin Campbell in his hot streak. The movie he did before this was GoldenEye, where he introduced the Pierce Brosnan James Bond, widely considered the only good Pierce Brosnan and James Bond movie. And this is before he came back to the franchise and made Casino Royale, which is widely regarded as the best James Bond movie ever by a lot of people, especially of my generation. He introduced he launched the careers of 2 Bonds and are widely considered 2 of the best Bonds. And he made this, which is widely regarded as one of the best franchise reboots with Zorro. I don't know what to expect. This is actually one of the few beloved action-adventure movies from my lifetime that I don't feel like I've seen without having seen. Much the opposite. I feel like I don't know anything about this movie. I know Anthony Hopkins is in it. And I know it's sort of like a passing of the baton kind of movie
Legacy,
where... Yeah, where they're trying to have, like, say that Anthony Hopkins Zorro was sort of the Zorro of the Tyrone Power age, and he is passing that mantle on to Antonio Banderas. So I'm excited to finally watch this thing. It's about time.
I will say that is cool. That is what elevates this one to like a mythic quality, because the 1940s one doesn't have that. He just becomes Zorro to do like one specific thing. He doesn't like don his cape like Batman, who's like, I'm gonna do this until I die. Like he does it to accomplish one goal, and then he accomplishes that goal, kind of like the Nolan version. But yeah, that's something that's different about the Mask of Zorro. I also like. You sound like you know more about it and had heard more about it than I have. I didn't really hear anything about Mask of Zorro. The only thing I knew was like when I was little, I saw a trailer of Mask of Zorro, and the only thing I remembered about it was he does like whoosh, whoosh, and like her dress falls down, but like her hair's covering, strategically placed. Of course, that's stuck in my little child brain. But that's the only thing I knew about it. I didn't even know Anthony Hopkins was in it, and I watched this, like I said, for the first time either this year or last year, and I love this movie. I didn't even know that it was so beloved, and I still came away like really, really loving it. So I'm excited to hear you talk about it.
I think
because we met, obviously we met through another channel that mainly talks about superhero stuff. So it's really cool when there's superhero stuff that neither of us have seen, because we've pretty much seen. We used to watch like every superhero movie that came out. Like that was like our thing. I've gotten away from it a little bit now as I get older and I'm getting into more genres, but it's cool that there's these superhero things. They're like maybe not technically superhero, but heavily inspired superhero stuff that we haven't seen.
They're proto superheroes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the origins are like so pulpy that's exciting. I had something to say and now I've forgotten it. So take it away.
All right. Number 15. What do we got? Oh, interesting. All right. This is it. This is the mother of all Ray Harryhausen movies. This is the one that I'm ashamed I haven't seen. Everybody talks about this movie. Our buddy Austin, when he came on my channel to talk about his top 10 fantasy movies, brought this movie up. This is Jason and the Argonauts. I mean, inspired everything. Think of stop motion movies. Think of Greek mythology movies. Think of Ray Harryhausen movies. This is like the number one on all this list. So I'm really excited to check this one out. I don't think I really need to say anything about it. It's iconic. It's that movie where the big famous scene with all the stop motion skeletons. They're like fighting in camera. If you've seen any of that, if you see, the giant Greek mythology like statue guy, like all that's in this, and I'm excited to finally check it out. This is from 1963.
I've also never watched that. That's a movie that, even from a small age, I've known about, and I'm surprised I still haven't seen it. So tell me how it
I will.
is, because I've been meaning to get around.
Unfortunately, well, there is another Blu-ray. You don't have to get this set. There is like another, but it doesn't look as nice. But you can find it on Blu-ray.
It's okay. I've held that set in my very hands. I'll be okay. And you can see it in a video on the channel where I held it in my hands. My next pick is a Best Picture winner. I've actually seen this one before. Gladiator, from director Ridley Scott, starring Russell Crowe. This is the first of, I think, 5 collaborations that actor and star did. The last one they did,
The Great Robin Hood. There you go. That's not on your list?
That's the worst Ridley Scott movie ever, sadly.
I remember loving that in the theater when I was like 15. But I haven't seen it since. I have no idea. It was like so dark and edgy, and Robin Hood Begins, but like, I don't know. It's probably terrible.
But this is a movie where I actually have seen this, and the reason I've seen this is because I watched through all of Ridley Scott's movies as my New Year's resolution in 2021. So this is like his big one. When I first watched it, I was not into it at first, and by the end of it, I was super into it. So I want to watch it again so maybe I could like it more, because it's pretty middle of the pack in my ranking of Ridley Scott movies. But the reason I actually have this included is because there is an extended cut of the film that is on this 4K. So this gives me a reason to go back, is to watch the extended version of the movie.
Really cool. Yeah, I haven't seen that one either. I know. It's crazy. So I need to get on that. All right. Number 16. We're getting right down to the wire. My last 4 here. First Man in the Moon. This, bringing it back to H.G. Wells, is an H.G. Wells novel. In the last one in the Volume 2 box set of Ray Harryhausen. Look at this. Look at this. First Man in the Moon. Got this beautiful moon logo here. The text coming out. You got this giant starburst behind it. You got them literally flying around on the moon with jet boots or jet packs. I don't know where that's coming out of. It looks like it's coming out of his boots, but I think it's supposed to be coming out of his jetpack. Look at crazy. I mean, I'm excited. I love H.G. Wells. I've really loved the 3 H.G. Wells adaptations I've seen so far, so I'm excited to get into this one. First Man on the Moon. I have not read this book, though. The other, like Invisible Man, Time Machine, and Island of Dr. Moreau. Island of Dr. Moreau. Those 3 books I've actually read, so I liked all those movies. I thought they were good adaptations. I don't know anything about this book, so I don't know if it's going to be a good adaptation, but I'm excited to check it out.
Dude, showing me that poster was the wrong choice, because now I have to add it to my list. I have to add it, DJ. I love that aesthetic, that pulpy, like retrofuturism I love their spacesuits. I love their spaceship. I love
Robinson Crusoe on Mars, man. I can't believe you didn't put that on your list because you just bought it.
I'm embarrassed. Okay. If you follow me on Letterboxd, I might accidentally watch more than just these movies. Just throwing that out there, because DJ just reminded me of all the great pulp adventure sci-fi that I got that yeah.
Sorry, you froze up on me a little bit, but yeah, go ahead and talk about the craziest title of any movie ever. What is this movie? I've heard of it, but it's the most bonkers title. Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World.
Yes. Okay. So, you, like me, know the great Aaron Dicer of Sift Pop.
Mm-hmm.
And
he loves
I remember... Yes. I remember way back when he talked about... I can't remember what movie he talked about, but he had the best ever challenge. And he said, what is the best ever...
Yes, I remember this.
Your best ever ship movie. And he says, if you can guess mine, you get a point. And it has... words in the title, and it's from the year 2003. He's like, okay, maybe that was too much. And there's Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl, which is 9 words, and then there is Master and Commander: The Far Side of the World, which is also 9 words. They both came out in 2003. This movie was actually nominated for Best Picture, and Pirates of the Caribbean obviously was nominated for Best Leading Actor for Johnny Depp.
Wow, that's great.
But this is a movie that is based on a series of beloved books. It's directed by Peter Weir, who is one of the leading voices of the Australian new wave cinema movement. He made Picnic at Hanging Rock in the mid 70s. He made Dead Poet Society in the late 80s. He's like, you look at his filmography, he's got some bangers on there. Movies, and he's just he's been quiet because his last movie was called The Way Back, not the Ben Affleck movie. It was from 2010, and it was a pretty good people surviving in the Russian wilderness movie. And the movie he made before that, though, was this. And both of these movies did not do very well at the box office, and so he's just stopped making movies. But Master and Commander stars Russell Crowe, and it stars Paul Bettany, James D'Arcy,
Nice.
and it is and Billy Boyd of he's Pippin from the Lord of the Rings films. This came out the same year as Return of the King, which won all the awards, of course.
Yeah,
but,
it's easy to see how this got
apparently
buried, coming out the same as Pirates and Lord of the Rings. Like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, why Peter Pan from that movie got
this is
buried.
great. Oh yeah,
2003,
totally,
man. Don't release your movies in 2003. If you have a time machine, tell everyone, because 2003 was a big year. No, that's really cool. And you're back on the sea again. You got another maritime adventure.
And bringing back Russell Crowe. So this is based on books that are beloved, and apparently, if you love the books, you also love this movie because apparently it's a great adaptation.
Yeah, you just brought me back, dude. I remember when Aaron Dicer used to do those reviews, and he would do the little hints at the end like that, and he was totally messing with you because he knew that he was like intentionally giving too many hints, but he knew everyone was thinking of pirates when he said that. Well, what a sly dog. That was great. Brilliant. What a clever guy. Go check out Aaron Dicer's channel.
I love Aaron. He's great.
He's awesome. All right, number 17, coming down to the wire. Here we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Sinbad, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. This is the one where this cover art comes from for the box set. There it is, The Golden Voyage of Sinbad. This is the follow-up to the 7th Voyage of Sinbad, the big one. And it's just more Sinbad. Twice the Sinbad. I don't know, man. There's a centaur on the front of this. Like, what? There's like the Egyptian goddess with like this, with like the 6 arms. I mean, you've got a griffin over here, another centaur. You've got this riding the front of. I don't know. This looks awesome. Like I said, I'm very illiterate when it comes to Sinbad, but I'm going to learn a lot about Sinbad this month because this is my 4th Sinbad movie on the list. So hopefully I can make it to this one, and we'll see. I'll let you know how it is.
I really hope we get a Sinbad ranked list from you, so I know exactly where to go.
I've actually already seen one Sinbad movie, so I could have a 6-movie Sinbad list, and I could
there you go.
I could throw in the DreamWorks one. 7, a top 7, a top 7 Sinbads. Hey, I'm gonna do it. I'm definitely gonna do it.
Ranking the 7 voyages of Sinbad. There you go. You got it.
Oh, we've already got a title for it.
Right. Going back into the well of Indiana Jones, I'm actually going to revisit the much disliked Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. This is a movie I have mixed feelings on. I think it gets too much hate in some areas,
I agree.
But I would not say I like it. I watched it actually a couple of years ago at a movie night because a couple of people who were leaving the party early decided to troll everybody, and the voting...
Oh,
they messed with the voting and then dipped out,
Scoundrels.
and then we watched Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which was a really cool viewing of it, by the way. So I'm curious to know if I'll probably still feel the same way about it, but if nothing else, I think it's an interesting film, and I think visually it's trying to go into a whole different direction than the first 3. I think it's trying to deliberately bring to mind films like, The Blob or other B movies of specifically the 50s that had more of an artifice. They were shot on sound stages, so a lot of the backdrops in this movie are meant to look like painted backdrops. And you know what I mean? Like, so they're trying to reach into a different bag of influences. I think, obviously how successful it is a little uneven. But that being said, I think like it's a Steven Spielberg Indiana Jones movie. It's not nothing. I'll say that much.
yeah, I mean, I liked it. I don't hate it as much as everyone else does. It's weirdly positive critic response to that movie. If you look back at the the Rotten Tomatoes on that. They really liked it. But yeah, I don't hate that movie. I didn't have the nostalgia, obviously, for the originals. That was the first one I saw because I didn't see the originals, and I saw that one when it came out. So yeah, I don't hate that movie. I'd like to watch that with you at some point. All right. Number 18, and Connor's final movie. I do have one more than him, so I'll just pop that one off real quick. But here we go. Let's round out the trilogy. This is what's not really regarded as the best one. I think this is actually regarded as the worst one. It's Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. I don't know why it's called Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. I'm assuming that's like some kind of jewel or something. But yeah, that's what it's called. It looks just as crazy and bananas. A good friend of mine on the Discord that Connor knows, Last Jedi of Gotham, said this one was not as good as the other ones. But so it kind of stinks that I'm gonna end up on a dud. But hopefully I'll find some stuff to enjoy about it. That's it. Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, the third in his trilogy.
Nice. Speaking of which, Stephen Murphy in the comments says, "Jingle all the way with Sinbad."
So you guys stay tuned to this channel. There's no way I'm having my own channel and not doing a Sinbad Jingle All the Way commentary for Christmas this year. I've got to find somebody to watch that with me because I love that movie. It's amazing.
Very nice. All right, my final movie, keeping it with Steven Spielberg, is The Adventures of Tintin. This movie is one I saw in the theaters. I don't remember anything about it. This is motion capture animated. It stars Jamie Bell as Tintin, Andy Serkis as Captain Haddock. So that's a bit of a King Kong reunion. And this movie was produced by Peter Jackson, directed by Steven Spielberg. And the intention was they were going to make a sequel to this movie that is still not apparently dead. Apparently it's still happening, that the sequel will be directed by Peter Jackson and produced by Steven Spielberg.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know that. I do have to get this off the shelf just so I can brag. I got the slipcover on mine. Sorry. But yeah, I've seen this movie. I remember nothing about this movie. It generic, I guess, because I don't have any connection with Tintin, so I didn't know any of the characters. It just kind of like washed over me. But I was young, so I'm actually looking forward to watch this one again. This is a great pick.
But it has what are their names from the Cornetto trilogy? Simon Pegg and Nick Frost play a couple of detectives.
Oh, that's perfect.
Daniel Craig is the villain, and it was actually screenplay was written. And if you're a Brit, you'll know these names. Stephen Moffat, who is known for his work on Sherlock and also Doctor Who, and also Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish, who are they're like best buddies. Joe Cornish, of course, made Attack the Block. Edgar Wright made great films of his own.
Man,
I love him.
This is like Clash of the Titans, man. This is not literally because that is an adventure movie, but I'm like so many great people involved in this, and I do remember this. The animation is gorgeous. Like, it's insane. Like, for
this
2010
is
or whenever this came out, 2011. It's crazy how good this looks.
And that's another reason why I have it on here is I'm watching through a bunch of 2011 movies right now because I watched through all the 2010 movies. That was a mistake, and now I'm watching through all of 2011's movies because someday I will have a top 100 favorite movies of the decade. I just want to make sure I've seen enough movies to say that with any authority. So there we go.
Setup: Clash of the Titans. Literally, Clash of the Titans, the 1981 film. I do not have this one. I do not own it. It is on HBO Max, though. So if anyone wants to check it out, it's on HBO Max. I don't currently have HBO Max at the moment of this recording. I just let it lapse. So I might have to sign back up so I can watch this. But yeah, this is Clash of the Titans. This is another one Austin brought up in his list. I kind of had a bone to pick with him because he lumped it in with Jason and the Argonauts, and a lot of people do that, but Jason and the Argonauts is like a 50s movie, 55, and Clash of the Titans is an 80s movie, so they can't be very similar. But people just lump them together because they're Ray Harryhausen, and they're his big fantasy movies. This one's up in the air for me. I don't like a lot of 80s movies. 80s is a vibe in a time period that I don't really appreciate or connect with at all, so I don't know if this is going to resonate with me or not. I've stayed away from fantasy from the 80s. I haven't seen Flash Gordon. I haven't seen Clash of the Titans. There's a lot of stuff from that period that I just don't like. So this one could go either way. I don't know. This is the last one on my list. I don't know if I'll watch it last because I'm not necessarily watching them in the order. But yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I'm gonna give it a chance. I've seen the 2010 one, and it has to be better than that, right?
It is better than that movie. Because I watch all the 2010 movies. I actually watched that movie in preparation of that movie.
Oh, sweet.
I'm curious to know how you're going to respond to it, and if you will say that if you would lump it in with some of those other movies, because it doesn't feel like an 80s
exactly.
movie.
I think it's like reaching back so much to the 50s and 60s. I think it's going to feel more like that to me.
Yeah, I think it is deliberately anachronistic in that way. So, and it literally it can't be worse than the Clash of the Titans. I would call that the worst remake I've ever seen, but I've also seen the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake. So, those two, they're batting it out for what's the worst remake. Of course, naturally, they're both from 2010.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I feel like I'm going to like it. I don't feel like it's going to feel like an 80s movie, and also it's 81. So it's like right on the turning point of the decade. So it probably was made at like 79, 80. So I think I'm going to like it. I'm looking forward to it. That's the last like big iconic one that I need to see if I'm going to call myself a fantasy guy at all. So lumping those two in together, adventure and fantasy in that one. So that's cool. But that's it. Those are our picks. We both have, well, in the video, Connor had 18, I had 19. Connor actually has more because he lumped all the Lone Wolf and Cub movies together. But so he has his work cut out for him this month. I intentionally made mine smaller because I did not make it through all of my October movies last month, but I did make it through more than I thought I would. So I think it's good to have a list to aspire to, and then even if you don't hit the stars, you hit the moon. That's the expression? I don't know. If not, it is now.
Completely agree with that. That's a good outlook to have. It's always best to have just a little more than you actually achieve.
Exactly. So I made this one a little smaller because I know I got a big Christmas list coming up next month. So I guess, spoiler, we are going to do this next month because I do that every year with Christmas. That was the first thing I ever did it with. This is the first year I'm branching out and doing it for other months. But I watch something every day for Christmas. And Connor is known for being way behind on Christmas movies. And I'm going to change that this year. I'm going to make him a list. And we're going to do this again in a month. So thank you so much for watching. This is our Adventure Through November challenge. If you guys want to join us, I know we're already a few days in. That's why I did this live, because I wanted to get this out as quick as possible so you guys could join us. If you feel like it, watch some adventure movies this month. It's kind of like a book club thing we're doing, I guess, where we watch a bunch of similarly themed movies and then we talk about it at the end of the month. I love talking to you guys in the live chat. Thank you so much for those of you guys who have been here. And I love talking to you guys in the comments. Please leave comments. Tell me what you're watching. I want to hear about it because I love... This is why I do this. Like I said, don't get paid for this. I just like talking to my friends about movies, and I like learning things. So that's what we're doing. We're watching a bunch of movies we don't know. We're learning new things this month, and we hope you'll come along with us. Thank you so much for joining me, Connor.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a privilege to be able to talk movies with you, man.
Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate it. You're always a delight to talk to, and I really enjoy doing these. So, with that, I have nothing further to say to you. I know Connor's got to run and shoot another video like right after this. So thank you so much. Let me shout out real quick. John Early, Stephen Murphy, Subject 879, John, did I say John Henry? Man, there's a lot of you that stuck with us this whole time. We've still got a good bit of people watching. Blue Dragon 5 was here. I know CM Productions had to pop out early, but Adam Arch, always there, made it through house with us the other night. Adam Arch is a quality subscriber there. You all are. I love all you guys. And thanks so much for teaching me about movies and listening to me talk about movies for extended periods of time. I don't know why you do it, but I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.